This clip is sponsored by Wash and Go, and that can only mean one thing. That's right, I'm surrounded by a sea of green. By now you should know that Wash and Go is the best way to look after your luscious locks. I mean, look at what it's done for mine. Fantastic. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at some of the 600 plus unreal reviews on their Amazon page. Linda from the United Kingdom says, well, it smells lush and leaves hair smelling fresh. Fantastic, Linda. Kindle customer JSB says, product arrived as advertised. Always very important. Always important to know that, Kindle customer JSB. And finally, my personal favourite, it's shampoo and it works for me. Absolutely fantastic there from Casey. It is indeed shampoo and also a conditioner. If you want to get your Wash and Go today, then hit the link in the description and get your bottle sent to you today. And remember, it's a shampoo and it works for me. Voice is gathering pace, but it is slowing down recruitment. Ten Hag and Poch are dividing opinion amongst United staff. So I would say this morning that there's good briefs coming out from the club that they are really keen to. There's two things really. Tuchel appears to be the number one target, but they're very unlikely to get him. But the club are also very keen, and I think you can take this to the bank really, considering where the information's coming from, two sources that do get good information from the club. The club are at pains to express to the wider world that they are conducting a wide, extensive search for a manager. But the lack of evidence around that really doesn't suggest that they are. It very much feels like for months now that it's Ten Hag and Pochettino. It feels like it's that now. But United are clearly trying to throw other names in, like Tuchel, which is a bit like Gravenberch. It's just not going to happen. Enrique, which we already know is not going to happen because he won't leave Spain until Christmas. They've mentioned, I can't pronounce his name as well, Lopetegui, but they're not going to go for him either. Manchester United are not conducting a wide, extensive search for a manager. They never have been. It's just it's just noise. They're not conducting a wide search. The Telegraph are saying that the board and the staff are split on whether to go for Ten Hag or Pochettino. That's frustrating if it's true. Why are there people in that club that think Pochettino is the right man? I mean, because they're incompetent. Of course, that's the answer. But I don't even think that's the case. I think the club are delaying the Pochettino thing because they don't know how to dress this up as a good decision. They know it's the decision they want to make, but they don't know how to dress Pochettino up as a good decision. And also, as I tweeted this morning, they've also got to hide or manipulate the situation that they're going to have to pay for Pochettino as well. Whether you think he's the right man or not, he's under contract with PSG. I think he's under contract for another year. So, and also, PSG are trying to win the French League, and they're going to be trying to win the French League until May. He's a manager till the end of the season, regardless, and they won't sack him until the summer anyway. So United need him in place now, making decisions about transfers now, and to do that, they're going to have to pay PSG. And PSG might want 5 million, they might want 10 million. So not only have United got to try and spin it so that the fan base think Pochettino's a good appointment, they've also got to find a way of getting him in now and pay PSG for it. So we're basically going to pay PSG for a manager that they're definitely going to sack in the summer, and a manager that's been sacked by Spurs, and a manager that most fans don't want. So that's the issue United have got here. I don't think we're conducting an extensive search as well. I'll put my hands up if they go and get Ten Hag or somebody else. I'll put my hands up and say, wow, maybe this club is moving in a different direction. But I think we all know what's coming. We all know it's going to be Pochettino, and I would expect something to happen around Pochettino in the next coming days, maybe even next week. I think something will be announced quite firmly around him. PSG will, and somebody just said in the chat then, well, how are we going to appoint him before the end of the season? Because PSG will let us have him. I mean, imagine this, right? Here's a scenario for you. You're in a relation, you're married, okay? You're married, and you've met somebody that you like. And you know that your wife has met someone that they like. It could be your husband. I don't want to be gender specific. But your partner's found you're married, your partner's found someone they like, and they don't know that you found someone you like as well. And basically, they're like, and you're not happy with them. And they go, well, I really want to leave you. And you're like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm absolutely gutted. You've betrayed my trust. Absolutely. But you've been seeing someone else on the side anyway. You can't. You're over the moon. They're going to go. So you say, well, you can go, but as long as you pay me some money. And that's what PSG are going to do. They don't want Pochettino, and they know that Pochettino wants to go to United, and United want Pochettino, and they know that they've got somebody better, but they'll go, oh, we're gutted. If you want to go, you've got to pay us. They're going to sack Pochettino in the summer. They will let him go now, as long as we pay them some money for him. So that's the stupid scenario with it, isn't it? I hope we don't get Pochettino, but I think it's well established. There's so many rumours going around from people who probably know a lot more than many of us do. Need to sign 5 or 6 players this summer, but we'll probably get Kane and Rice with Pochettino. Criminal when likes of Rudiger and Kessie available for free, says Fergus. And if there is conflict in the United staff about whether we should go for Ten Hag or Pochettino, I would imagine the Pochettino people are on the board and the Ten Hag people will be, maybe people like Ralph Rangnick and maybe a Murta, maybe even a Fletcher, I don't know. But future thinkers will be going for Ten Hag, and the last 9-year thinkers will be going for Pochettino, and we know who will come out on top. We need top class CDM and CM, not average, says JH. We do. And actually that just brings me on to a point. We were talking about this on That's Football, and I wanted to bring it onto the morning show here. There are so many examples of the issues at Manchester United. And look, I will say this to you as well. It's a good point to bring this in. I think look, I have no issue with anybody. I'll call things out when I don't agree with it. I think that's very important when we're dealing with something that we love. But there's always, somebody can have a bad take for months and then they can have a really good take. And I think a lot of what Gary Neville said over the last 9 months has been quite frustrating, because he is a pundit that's respected who openly admitted he wasn't going to speak honestly about somebody because they were their mate, Pochettino, and I think that's a mistake as well. But I can't fault what he said here. He says, I don't blame Ralph Rangnick. There's big players in the club. There's big problems in this club. The owners are not good enough. The owners need to sell the club. And I've said that all season. And that's the sort of thing that's really important from somebody like Gary Neville, who obviously has a big audience and is a well-respected pundit. That ultimately, that's the bottom line. It's good of him to come out and say he doesn't blame Ralph Rangnick. He's right. There's big players in that club who've not delivered. There's big problems in the club. And the owners are not good enough, and neither is the board. And as he said, the owners need to sell, and he said that all season. And that's the bottom line. All Manchester United's problems can be solved by one action: the Glazers selling the club. Because if the Glazers sell the club, they ain't going to keep on the Glazers' mates on the board. They'll clear house, and they'll clear house in the coaching staff. They'll clear house in the playing staff, because every owner will want to stamp their authority, and what a load of authority you could stamp on this club. So it's good to hear Gary Neville saying that. I know a lot of you say it. I know I say it a lot. But it's good that gets mentioned at a time like this, because that is what needs to happen to Manchester United. The Glazers have owned this club for the last 9 years. I know they've owned it longer, but the last 9 years is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Somebody said to me last night, could you have envisaged when Sir Alex Ferguson retired that Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool would win titles and you wouldn't? And I couldn't. I think it's absolutely disgusting how this club has not been in a title race since Sir Alex Ferguson retired 10 years ago. Nearly 10 years ago. But if somebody said to me United aren't going to win a title for 10 years, I fully expect that in 10 years somebody's got to win the title 10 times. I fully expect it's not going to be bloody Leicester every year. It probably is going to be Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool. So that's what people don't realise. Liverpool winning the league is on us. Chelsea winning the league is on us. Man City winning leagues or trebles or anything else is on us. If you basically forfeit and say we're not a club that wants to win titles anymore, somebody will step into your place. And look, well done to Liverpool for their rebuild. Well done to Man City. Well done to Chelsea. Well done to Leicester for winning Premier League titles. But we retired from winning titles and went, off you go, fill your boots. That's what. And we just said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. If you walk away from something for 10 years and say you're not going to do it anymore, someone else is going to jump in and do it. And that's the way, that's what's happened at Manchester United. Given the attitude of these players, wouldn't someone like Simeone or Conte be useful, says Animus? Well, I don't like Simeone's style of football. I really don't. But I prefer Conte, and I prefer Conte. And just picking up on that as well, big shout out to Barcelona and Real Madrid, football clubs that have fallen on hard times, that are desperately trying to get back on top as quick as possible. And look at what they've done. Look at what Real Madrid have done. Expensive mistakes like Eden Hazard and others. And they don't dwell on them. They're like, well, you're not going to start. You're not starting games. we'll find a way for you to leave the club. Gareth Bale as well. I know he's been there a long time, but he's been frozen out for years. They've sort of tried it. He's not that good. Right, you're not going to play. Don't care what wage you're on, you're not going to play. Eden Hazard, there's other examples as well. Barcelona, expensive mistakes on people like Coutinho and Griezmann and others. They're either not at the club anymore or they've got rid of them. That's what a football club does. Look at what Real Madrid and Barcelona have done. They've made very expensive mistakes, and those expensive mistakes don't start games for them. They're like, look, we've made a mistake. Let's not compound this mistake through arrogance, ignorance and naivety by picking these players and hoping that our mistakes are going to correct themselves. They get rid of those mistakes and they get them out of the club. And it does cost them a lot of money and they do look a little bit foolish. But you know the best way to not look foolish is to correct your mistake. Look at what Daniel Levy did at Spurs. Nuno was a bad appointment. 3 months later he gets rid of him and he gets Conte. And no one talks about Nuno anymore. No one talks about that mistake anymore because they've got the right man in. Same with Barcelona, they've got rid of their mistakes. Same with Real Madrid, they'll get rid of their mistakes. What do we do as a football club at Manchester United? We don't get rid of our mistakes. The expensive mistakes that we make on ridiculous wages, we're going to look really stupid if we don't pick them. It's going to cost us our dividends. We can't sell them, nobody wants them, so let's just keep picking them and hope that they start playing well. That's basically what United are going to do for the next 2 years. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.